In the here and now, one can seldom mention a modern-day dystopia without referring to the predictions of George Orwell's book 1984. It's the go-to text for anyone wishing to point out the perils of surveillance, the manipulation of truth, and the crushing boot of authoritarianism. Indeed, in today's England, with its CCTV eyes and digital footprints and state-controlled mass media, Orwell's vision seems eerily relevant. However, there is another lesser-known predictive masterpiece in the equally compelling narrative of Wells's 1899 book, The Sleeper Awakes. Wells, with his Edwardian foresight, sketches a future where docile and blind, rather than being vigilant, becomes the metaphor for societal acceptance. The principal character, Graham, awakens after centuries to a world where he is unknowingly the key element of a vast, oppressive system. Here, Wells does not just predict the mechanics of control, but the natural tendency of society to fall under control and manipulation. A theme that resonates just as potently today as Orwell's more overt warnings. The late 21st century London of The Sleeper Awakes is a city of towering skyscrapers, not unlike today's modern city, where the masses are kept pacified and manipulated by spectacle and the art of distraction. It's a world where technology not only enables control, but also defines the very fabric of society, much like our current dependence on the digital world. Wells's depiction of a society that has sleepwalked into tyranny is a mirror to our own times, right now, where we might be too caught up in the daily grind or the next viral moment to see the creeping chains of control wrapping around us. The Sleeper Awakes is a true beacon of warning in our eerily familiar landscape of today. Wells' protagonist Graham, upon waking, finds himself in a world of towering structures and neon screens. His initial bewilderment is not just at the technological marvels, but at the stark social contrasts. The rich elite live in glass towers, their daily lives broadcast for the masses below, who are pacified by endless streams of these wealthy influencers, where they can escape their boredom to live lives of fantasy. The guardians of his wealth had used his name like a holy relic to keep the populace in line. But as Graham begins to understand the depth of his influence, he's drawn into the politics of this new age. He's no longer just a figurehead, he's a symbol of potential change. The masses, seeing the possibility of a new order, rally around him. The revolution, when it comes, is both magnificent and terrifying. It's not just about overthrowing the elite, but about dismantling the very structures that have kept humanity shackled. Graham, however, starts to see the cracks in his own vision. Power, once seized, reveals its own corruption. The new leaders, including those who claim to be on his side, begin to show signs of the same greed and manipulation that characterized the old regime. Here's where Wells, through Graham, delivers his sobering conclusion. After the dust settles, after the cheers have faded, Graham realizes that the utopia he envisioned was perhaps too idealistic, too human. The power he wielded was not a tool for crafting paradise, but merely a different shade of control. In his quest to free humanity, he might have merely reshaped and redesigned its chains. In this new world, Graham finds himself at the helm of a society still struggling with its inherent flaws. Inequality, greed, the eternal human quest for more. His journey from a passive sleeper to an active participant in the world's fate ends not with triumph, but with a poignant realization. Change is perpetual, and the battle for a better world is never truly won. So Wells leaves us with a future that's both a warning and a mirror to today. Like all great dystopian tales, it doesn't just scare us with what might be, but challenges us with what and who we are. So in conclusion, the book's exploration of socialism is particularly striking. Wells does not merely critique capitalism, but also warns of the perils of a socialism that morphs into an authoritarian control by a new elite. This is akin to the modern critique of how Keir Starmer's World Economic Forum-sponsored regime has become more about power consolidation than about equitable distribution or liberation. We see this in the current landscape where promises of equality are used to justify increasing control over personal freedoms. The betrayal of revolution in The Sleeper Awakes is another theme that resonates today. Revolutions often start with high ideals, but can end in the hands of opportunists who perpetuate the very systems they were meant to dismantle. Wells' portrayal of how the elite maintain control through dual means, oppression and the provision of pleasure, mirrors contemporary society's use of digital surveillance alongside the pacifying effects of entertainment and consumer culture. The internet and social media platforms, much like the giant neon screens depicted in Wells' book, offer endless distraction, keeping the populace entertained, informed or misinformed at the discretion of those who control the technology. The dystopian elements of Wells's narrative are not just historical speculation, but are manifesting in our world. The concentration of wealth and power in the hands of a few, the surveillance state, the manipulation of public opinion through media and technology all underscore how the themes of The Sleeper Awakes are not merely prophetic, but are unfolding in real time. Consider how modern-day mainstream media groups, like the maggots of the BBC and ITV with their vast influence, can be seen as modern-day equivalents of Wells' oligarchs, offering services that are hard to live without, yet which also influence behaviour. The societal stratification, where the rich grow richer while the poor get poorer, mirrors Wells' depiction of social divides. And the constant surveillance, whether by private companies or state mechanisms, is a direct echo of the omnipresent control in Wells' future London. Wells' book is not just a tale of a man out of time, but a warning about the future of humanity if we do not heed the lessons of history and technology's potential for both liberation and subjugation. The book serves as a reminder that while revolutions can change the faces of power, the underlying mechanisms of control might remain or even intensify under new guises. Today, we are awake to these possibilities, and it is our duty to ensure that the future does not merely repeat the dystopias envisioned by Wells, but instead strives for a more balanced, equitable world. As we navigate this era of rapid technological change, the challenge is to awaken from our own slumber of complacency, to question, to engage, and to demand a future where technology serves humanity, rather than humanity serving the technology owned by overlords.